Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is the paper 2-1 of May-June 2016 for Add Math paper 2. This one is O-level, and in this paper we're going to be doing all the questions step by step. So let's begin with question number 1. So let's first read the question. So find the values of x for which this equation is true. So the first thing you want to do is to expand the brackets. So let's expand one by one. So x times this will be x squared plus 2x minus 4 times this minus 4x minus 8 more than 7. So now we have to simplify. The first thing, we can send everything to one side. You will have x squared plus 2 minus 4 is minus 2x, and then we have minus 8 minus 7, that will be minus 15 more than 0. So now we have to find the critical values of x. So just we take the same equation and we just equate that to 0 to find the critical values of x. Now we just have to factorize. X squared is x times x. 15, we know it is 3 times 5. So 5 and 3. To get minus 2, we have to have minus 5 and plus 3. And now we find the values. So x will be minus 3, x will be 5. But these two are not your answer. They are just the critical values of x. And then we use this to find your answer. We have to look at the graph. So here it is a positive 1 value. So your graph will have a shape like this. So this value here is minus 3. This value here is 5. So here this is the line 0. And we need this equation to be more than 0. So we need this one and this part. So based on that, we know x has to be less than minus 3. And x has to be more than 5 for your answer. So this will be your answer for question number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. So here we have to illustrate A is a subset of B and B is a subset of C. So let's do one by one. So first let's draw A is a subset of B. So A will be a small one and then it will be inside of B. Okay. So label this as A and this is B. And the next one, it says B is a subset of C, so C will be, so B will be inside of C, so this will be C. So that will be your answer for part A. Now let's move on to part B. It is given that the universal sets are the letters of the alphabet, which is 26 letters, A, B, C, D until Z, right? Now the elements of P are the letters of the word math. Okay, so he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters from math. And the elements of set Q are the letters in the word of exam. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's rewrite this down to help us. Let's match them. So here we have M. Here we also have M. Here we have A. Here we also have A. And that's all. So here we have T, H, S. And here we have E, X. So we only have these two are the same and the rest are different. So this is just to help us to find the rest of the answers. Now for part 1, we have write the following using set notations. The letter H is in the word math. So basically H is an element of the set P. That's how you write this. So what's next? We have 2. Write the following using set notation again. So the number of letters occurring in both of the word math and exam is 2. So pretty easy. Number of letters, number, n of letters occurring in both of those two. This is your set P, your set Q. So when it occurs in both, it means it is common, it is intersecting both. It is equal to 2. So that will be your answer. Okay, numbers 2. And this one is intersecting, and will be this. Okay. Now for part 3, list the elements of P intersecting Q prime. Q prime is everything outside of Q. So if you observe, what will that be? So this is P, and this is Q. So everything outside of Q, we will have many elements. We will have A, no, we have B, C, D going on. So we will also have T, H, s, going on until z, right? But now we want to know something is, we want to find p intersecting q prime. So we know that this 3 will be matched with q prime. So your answer will be THS. So that will be your answer for part 3, the set of T, H, and S. Okay, so that will be your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we do not have to use a calculator, so we have to show every step of how did you find your answer. So one by one. So first you see a power here, we can send the power to the beginning. You will have this is equal to minus 2 log of p and p. So you have to know, when you have log of a base p with the same value here, this will become 1, so you have minus 2. So something you need to know is, if you have log of base k, for example, and it is for the value k as well, that will be 1. Okay, that's why it is 1. Minus 2 times 1 will be minus 2. This is 1. Now for this one, how would you simplify this? Let's see. So what is 1 over 10 power n? You can write this as 10 power minus n. So this will become log 10 power minus n. Now we can send the power to the beginning. You will have minus n log of 10. Now you have to know something is that lg log is actually log to the base of 10. So we have minus n log to the base of 10, 10. So this is 1. You will have minus n as your value. This is your value for part 2. Now let's move on to the value of part 3. We have to show that this left hand side is equal to the right hand side, where y is a constant to be found. So let's begin from here. So here we have lg. So lg, again, you know it is log to the base of 10. Right. So we have to first make everything become log to the base of 10, so we can simplify this. So let's begin here. So on top you can see, let's look at the top first. It's pretty easy. On top we have lg of 20 minus lg of 4. That will be simplified to lg of 20 minus become divide by 4. You will have lg of 5. So which is basically log base of 10, 5. So replace that value back in your equation. So on top you will have log to the base of 10, 5, divide by log to the base of 5, 10. So now we can simplify. Since your answer needs to be in terms of lg, which is log to the base of 10, we have to change this one, right? So let's rewrite this down. Log to the base of 5, 10 is the same thing as log to the base of 10, 10, divide by log to the base of 10, 5. Okay, now we can simplify. The top you can see it is simply 1 divided by log to the base of 10, 5. Okay, so this will be the conversion of this one. So let's replace the values. On top you will have log base of 10, 5 divided by 1 over log base of 10, 5. So this will simplify to log base of 10, 5. So just to explain, let's call this u. So you will have u over 1 divided by u. Now if you want to simplify this, you can just multiply this on top. You will have u square. So same thing, this will become this square, which is log to the base of 10 is lg 5 square. Now this value here is y, so you write y is equal to 5. So just to explain this, so when you have to divide something, say for example you divide 2 over 3 divide by 4 over 5, what would you do? You will write down 2 over 3 divide by 4 over 5, but then you will try to change the sign of divide to multiply. You will have 2 over 3 multiplied by 5 will go up and 4 will go down, right? So same step here. When you have u is u over 1 divided by 1 over u. We want to change divide. You will have u over 1 multiplied by u will go up, so you will have u square. So that's how I got this one, and this is your value of y. Now let's move on to part 4. we have to solve this equation. So good news is everything has the same base of r, which means we can combine them together. So let's send everything to one side. You have log base of r 2x plus log base of r 3x minus log base of r 600 is equal to 0. Now let's combine them together. You will see what you'll have. You'll have log base of r, we have 2x here, plus becomes multiply by 3x, and minus become divide by 600 is equal to 0. Now we can simplify again. On top you will have 6x squared divided by 600 is equal to r power 0, which is 1. So now simplify 6, 1, 100. So you will have x squared over 100 is equal to 1. So which means x squared is equal to 100. X has to be plus minus 10. But now since x value is for a logarithm, you have to know that log cannot take negative values. So it cannot take negative values. So that's why x can only be positive 10. And this is your answer for question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So in the question itself, this will be the area that will be shaded. Okay. Now let's move on to the information. So the diagram shows 3 circles of center A, B, and C. So we have 3 circles, A, B, and C. Those are the centers of that circle. Now, each of radius 5, which means all the 3 circles have radius 5. Now, if you were to label the radius, you will see that radius will be this to this is 5. This is 5. This is also 5. So 5, 5, 5. So this whole length is 10, 10, 10, right? So just to understand that ABC is an equilateral triangle, if that makes sense, because all the sides are equal for the triangle ABC. Now we have angle BAC is theta radians. Question part 1, write down the value of theta. So as we have determined that, we have triangle ABC. All the sides are equal, which means that all the angles are also equal, and that has to be 180 divided by 3. That will be 60 degrees, which means in terms of radians, theta has to be pi by 3 radians. That's the value of theta. Now next step, we have to find the area of the shaded region between the circles. So how can you find that area? So you have to think. So the first thing we can do is let's find the whole area, right? The area of a triangle. So step number 1, let's find area of triangle ABC. That will be half times the sine of the angle pi by 3 and times the sides, which is 10, 10, right? Because 10, 10. Okay. Now this will be the area of the whole triangle. That will be half. Let's use 10 times 10 and times sine of pi by 3. So your setting has to be in radians so that you have the right answer. Okay. So you will have 43.30127. Okay, now if you want exact answers, you have to know that sine of 60 is equal to root 3 by 2. This is half. This is 100. Okay, so 25. That will be 25 root 3 for exact values if you want to write exact values. Now, so once you have the area of the whole triangle, which is everything, now you want to minus those 3, right? Because you only want the one in the middle, you want to minus those 3. The good thing is that those 3, let's call this A, B, and C. So we know A is equal to B is equal to C. So you can find the area of one of them and then multiply by 3 and then take the whole thing minus these 3. So how do you find area of C, for example? It is area of sector. You can find that by using your formula, which is half times r square, 5 square, right? The radius is 5, and theta is pi by 3. That will be 25 pi over 6. This is only for C. Now what is a total unwanted area? It is A plus B plus C. We have to multiply by 3. You will have 25 pi over 2, sorry. Multiply by 3. So finally you conclude that. So we know second part is unwanted area is equal to 25 over 2 pi. So finally, area of shaded region is equal to this value, 25 root 3 minus 25 over 2 pi. So let's find the value, 25 root 3 minus 25 over 2 pi. That will give you 4.03 correct to 3SF. So for non-exact values, you have to write your answer correct to your final answer, correct to 3SF. That will be centimeter square for the area of the shaded region. So as always, advice, when you do complex question, it's always best to recheck your answer when you do your calculation. So let's recheck the area of triangle. It will be half times sine of the angle pi by 3 times 100. That will be the area. Then minus the area of the unwanted region, which is 25 over 2 pi. That will be same thing. So it confirms that this is the right area to find. Now let's move on to question number 5. Do not use a calculator in this question, so we have to show every step of your work to get all the 3 marks. Now express this equation in the form of this, where a and b are integers. So we have to simplify this equation. So we can multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the base. So let's do that. 8 over root of 7 minus root of 5. So multiply. You will have root of 7 plus root of 5. So root of 7 plus root of 5. So you will have on top root of 8 times 7 is 42. Let's check, I'm not too sure. 56. Yeah, 56. I was right. So 56 plus root of 40. 8 times 5 is 40. Divide by, this will become root of 7 square minus root of 5 square. So we can simplify this. So this is 8 times 7. Right? So let's write this down again so you understand what's happening. So basically my idea is, we know this is equal to 8 times 7, but which is also equal to 4 times 14. That makes sense, right? We know root of 4 is equal to 2 root 2, this one. So this will be same steps. We have 4 times 10, which I know it is 2 root of 10. So now we replace back in the main equation. On top you will have 2 out. You will have root of 14 plus root of 10. And this divided by 7 minus 5, which is root of 14 plus root of 10. That will be 2 over 2. These two will cancel out. And this will be your answer for question part 1 in the form of this, where this is A, B are integers or whole numbers. Now let's move on to part B. Given that this is equal to this, where P and Q are integers, find the values of P and Q. So let's compare. So one by one. So on the left hand side, let's leave it as it is, because that's all we can do. But on the right hand side, we can expand. Expand this, you will have Q square plus 4Q root 3 plus 4 times 3, that should be 12. So now we can compare that this has to be this one, and this too has to be this one. So let's form the equation. So the coefficient of root 3 is 4Q has to be equal to P. That's my first equation. And then we also see this and this has to equal to this. So Q squared plus 12 is equal to 28. Now this means q squared has to be equal to 28 minus 12 is 16. So q has to be plus minus 4. Now we can write, so for the values of, so if q is equal to 4, p has to be, p is 4q, 16. Now for q is equal to minus 4, p has to be minus 16. So these are the two possible solutions for your question. Okay, so that will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. So here we have to express this equation in terms of this and find the values of p, q, and r are constants to be found. So the first step is that you see the coefficient of x squared is 4. Our job is to make it become 1. How can you make that? Is making that through factorization. But the first thing I like to do, I like to rewrite this again as 4x squared plus 8x. I like to leave some space and write minus 5. Next step, I like to factorize only for those two. I'll take out 4. You will have x squared plus 2x, some space, minus 5. But here I have to add a number. I have to plus something, and this number will be this number right here, which is 2. Then we have to divide by 2 square. Now when you add something, you also have to minus the same number, so your equation does not change. So you have to minus the same number, 2 square. But now, since it was inside of this bracket, we also have to give it the number 4. Now we have to simplify. 4 is 4. X will become x. So x will become x. Here we have plus. We have to write plus. Inside we have 1. We write 1. And square will go outside. So here we have what? Let's check. Minus 5. Minus 4. 1 square. That will be minus 9. So this will be your answer for part 1. Completing the squares for this equation, where p is 4, q is 1, r is minus 9. Now for part 2, we have to state the coordinates of the vertex. Vertex means the minimum point or the maximum point of this equation. Now let's look at the real one. This one, because the coefficient of x squared is positive, it is a minimum curve. Okay, and the minimum point for this curve is, you have to look at the inside. We have x plus 1. We have to equate that to 0, which means x has to be minus 1. So the minimum point is minus 1, and this value is your y value for the minimum point. So that is the for this curve. But now, since we have the modulus sign, the negative will become positive for your y values. Okay, so y has to be modulus. So everything below this line will be reflected upwards. So when you had this minimum point, it will now be positive point of minus 1, 9. So coordinates of the vertex will be, say the points will be minus 1. Instead of minus 9, it will become 9. Because of modulus, it has to be a positive y value. That will be part 2. Now for part 3, on the axis below, sketch the graph of this, showing the coordinates of the points of where the curve meets the axis. So of course, one by one, we have to first find out where it meets the x-axis. So let's do that. Let me do this here. So you would say at x-axis, you know that the y value has to be 0. So let's equate that. You have 4x plus 1 square minus 9 equal to 0. So x plus 1 square is 9 over 4. So x plus 1 has to be plus minus 3 over 2. X will be, so minus 1 plus 3 over 2 is half, or it can be minus 3 over 2 minus 1, this value. So basically on the x-axis we'll have these 2 points where E will cut the, this is 2, sorry. So basically 0.5 and minus 2.5. So let's first mark those points on our graph. So let's go back, and then now you have to label the axis. So you have to 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's label them. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus 5. So the first 2 points we know on the x-axis will be 0.5 and minus 2.5. So let's mark that. So 0.5 will be right here. And then we have, let's use a different color, blue. And then we have minus 2.5 will be right here. So these are the first 2 points we know. And the next point is we want to know where it cuts our y-axis. So pretty easy, replace the value. We know that at y-axis, the value of x has to be 0. Replacing the equation, y will be equal to minus 5. But here we have modulus that will be 5. So let's mark that point as well. So for example, let's put the value about here for 5. And this will be 10. So this is 5. That will be your part where it cuts my axis. And you guys know from this question, the vertex has to be minus 1 and 9. So minus 1, 9, let's say, should be about this point. Doesn't need to be exact because it's only a sketch. So let's choose this point. So now let's plot the curve. So we have this part. And this part. Okay. And then of course everything that is, because we know the graph, the real graph without modulus will be in this shape, right? So everything above will be just above. So let's continue those two sides because those were the real shape of that graph. So the main point here is that if you want to draw this graph, there's another way. You can first draw the graph inside without the modulus, and then everything that goes below will be reflected on the x-axis. So let me use a different color to show you guys. So usually, if there was no modulus sign, this graph will be something like this. It will be in this shape. For example, right? So that will be a bit lower. It should be something like this. Because of the modulus, the one below has been reflected up in that shape. So your goal is to take everything down, flip it upwards, so you don't have anything below this line. And of course, the last thing is you have to label your graph for your full marks. And you have to always show your work of how did you find your points. So take all this and all this, write this down somewhere below to show you're working. And that will be your question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So we have OPQR of 4 points such that OP is P, OQ is Q, OR is 3Q minus 2P. Now part 1, find in terms of P and Q, the first one is PQ. So PQ has to be equal to OQ minus OP. OQ is Q minus P. That is your answer. Now for part B, we have to find QR. So how do you find QR? QR is OR minus OQ. OR is 3Q minus 2P minus OQ is Q. That should be 2Q minus 2P. Now if you observe, if you factorize the 2 outside, you will have Q minus P. And as you can see, this one inside, they have the same direction. I bet in the next question they are going to ask you about this. So let's see. Justifying your answer, what can be said about the positions of P, Q, and R? So you can say many things. You can say that they are in the same direction, or you can say they lie on a straight line. So P, Q, about the position, so R collinear. And because you can point to part 1, we have shown in part 1, or you can write down as, or you can mention that the ratio, so basically the ratio of QR is 2 times PQ. That is one way of showing that as well. So basically QR is 2 times PQ, right? So that is the conclusion, and this is the reason why you think that is true. Now let's move on to part 3. Given that OP is I plus 3j and OQ is 2i plus j, find the unit vector in the direction of OR. So let's do that. So according to your question, so you can clearly see that in the question we have OR equal to 3q minus 2p. So let's write this down. We know from the question OR is equal to 3q minus 2p. Now q you know is equal to 2i and 1j minus 2p is 1, 3. That should be, so that will be 6, 3 minus 2 and 6. That will be minus 4 and minus 3. So you have to find the magnitude of OR. That will be square root of square the first value. So 4 squared will be 16 plus 9. That will be root of 25. That should be 5 for the magnitude. And you have to find the unit vector. Pretty easy. Unit vector is the vector itself divided by its magnitude. So OR divided by its magnitude, that will be 1 over 5 times the vector. Okay, so that will be your answer. So just if someone is confused about this, so we take minus 4 square. So when you square them, the minus sign will go away. So you'll have 16. Same thing for minus 3 square. That will become 9. That's why we don't have the minus sign here. It is just positive 2 values, and you will get this for your answer. And that will be your question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. So here we have to use the binomial theorem to expand this one, and then giving each term in its simplest form. So one by one. So first term will be, we have 4 here. That will be 4, choose 0. The first value is a, and we have b. This is 0, this has to be 0, and this has to be 4 because 4 minus 0 is 4. Next one, so plus 4 choose 1. You have a and b, 1, 1 here, and this will be 3. 4 choose 2. A, b, that will be 2 here, 2, plus 4 choose 3. That will be a and b, 3 and 1. And finally 4 choose 4. That will be a, b, that will be 4, and this will be 0. Now simplify everything. The first one will be 1 times a power 4 times 1. This will be 4 times a power 3 times b. What is 4 choose 2? That will be 6. A power 2, b power 2. 4 choose 3. That will be 4. A, b power 3. And 4 choose 4 is 1. Power 0 is also 1 times b power 4. Simplify to a power 4 plus 4a cube b plus 6a square b square plus 4a b cube and plus a power 4. Now question, hence find the term independent in this expansion. So the term independent means where there's no x. By observation you will see that if you, this will be a, this will be b. So which term can you choose so that there is no x? So you will choose this one. Why? If you replace, you will have this. A will be 2x square. B will be 1 over 5x square. This will be 6 times 4x square times 1 over 25x square. Observe that these two will cancel out. So you have 24 over 25 as your term independent in x. So this is your answer for part 2. Now for part b, we have the coefficient of x cubed in this expansion equal to this value. Find the value of the positive integer n. So we have to find the coefficient of x cubed. So we have this expansion. So let's write this down. We have to find a term in x cubed. So we have n, choose something we don't know, but we know the first term is 1, not first term, but the first value here is 1, and this one is x over 2. Now to make it become a term in x cubed, we know we have to have 3 here, if that makes sense, right? If you have 3 here, this has to be 3, and this has to be n minus 3. Okay, so now we can simplify. N choose 3 we don't know, so n choose 3 is the same thing for now. 1 power something is always 1, and this will become x cubed divided by 8. So simplify to n choose 3 over 8 x cubed. So now we can compare. It say that the coefficient, which is this one, is equal to this. So this is equal, according to the question, we have n choose 3 over 8 is equal to 5n over 12. Now we have to find the value of n. So first, what is this? N choose 3 is equal to n factorial divided by n minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. This is given to you on your list of formula. You don't have to worry too much about memorizing the formula. It is given to you. Now we have to simplify this. So 3 factorial is what? 3 factorial is 6. So we write down n factorial over n minus 3 factorial times 6. Now next step is, let's simplify these two. So what is n factorial? N factorial can be written as n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3 factorial. Now take this, divide by 6 n minus 3 factorial. So you will have this below. So these two will cancel out. So this thing will become n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 divided by 6. Replace back in your main equation. You will have on one side n minus 1, n minus 2 divided by 6. That will be 5n over 12. Simplify. This one will cancel out. Divide by 6, 1, 2. Cross multiply, you will have 2 n minus 1, n minus 2 equal to 5. Now we have to expand the brackets and simplify. This is 2. That will be n squared minus 2n minus n plus 2. 5. That will be n squared minus 3n plus 2 equal to 5. That will be 2n squared minus 6n plus 4 equal to 5. 2n squared minus 6n, so send this over here, become minus 1 equal to 0. So let's see now if we have made any mistakes, because it is possible in that case. Because from what we can see here, it is not possible to find the value of n exactly. Well, here we have to find integer n, which means it has to be exact value. So there must be something not okay in this expansion. Let me see. So till now everything is fine, because it says we need the value of the positive integer n has to be a whole number, and from what we can see right now, it is not possible to factorize that equation to a whole number. So there must be a mistake somewhere. So let's observe. Okay, so I see now where's the mistake is I forgot this value of 8. So we have to have 8 here as well. So 8 is missing. Cross multiply, this will be 40. That should be 40, 40, and 40, but not 4. Now 4 minus this will be 36. So now we can factorize this equation. So it's always good to read the questions and see what they're asking for, and you can realize your mistakes if there's any. Now we can divide by 2 everywhere. You will have n squared minus 3n minus 18 is equal to 0. Now n squared is simply n times n. 18 is 6 times 3. So to get minus 3, we have to have minus 6 plus 3, and n has to be 6, which is a positive value. So your answer will be n equal to 6. Because this one will be minus 3, and we cannot take n to be a negative value. And that will be your question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. Part A, given that y equal to this equation, has a period of pi by 4 radians, passes through this point, this is your y-intercept, and this point, find the value of a, b, and c. So first thing is, let's use this to find the value of c. Replace in your equation. This is x and y. You will have y is 2, a tan x is 0, plus c. This will be 0. So this is minus 2, sorry. So c will be minus 2. That's the first value we can derive. Now let's find the value of b. Because we know that the period is pi by 4. So how do you find the period of a tan curve? You take pi, divide by b, and you're supposed to get your period. That will be b is equal to 4. So b is equal to 4. Now we have to find the value of a by using this point, x and y. Same thing. So y is 0. A we don't know. Tan of 4 times x, which is pi by 16. And plus c, c is minus 2. So 0 is a. That will be 1 if you simplify, because 1, 4, pi by 4 is 45 degrees. Tan of 45 is 1, minus 2. From this you have a has to be 2. So you have your values of a, b, and c. Okay? So just to recap, this one, period, is used to find the value before the x, which is b. And these 2 points were used to find the value of a and c. C usually is your y-intercept, so you have to use the value of these kind of points which meets on your y-axis. So 0 minus 2 will be somewhere below here. So that is your y-intercept. Now for part B, on the axis below, we have to draw the graph of y equal to 2 cos 3x plus 1 between those two regions. Domain. So x is called domain, okay, not region, domain. Now we have to draw this graph. So the first thing we can try to find out is what is the period of this graph. So by observation, usually we know that it is 360 divided by 3. That will be 120 for the period. But here it is not important because we have the minus 7 and everything. We can just use the values one by one to find what are the values of y for the value of x. So first thing is, let's draw this line. When you look at this line behind, it is y equal to plus 1. So let's first draw this line. Let's say 1 is here because we have 4 here. This will be your line, y equal to 1. So this line helps us to know this is your baseline. It is the line which is exactly in between the curve. Now look at this one. This one is your amplitude. Basically, it will go up 2 from here and down 2 from here. So let's count. 1, 2. So this will be your maximum line for the curve. And going 2 down, that will be your minimum line for the curve. So what this tells you is the curve would only go in between those two. It will not go up or down below these two lines. So this helps you to know what are the values for your y will be. Now to know where to draw, we can just replace those values back in our equation. So let's do that. Let's use radians. So first point here is minus 2 pi by 3. So we have 2 cos 3 times minus 2 over 3 pi. That will be 2. So this will be, the value of 2 will be right here. This is 1, 2. That's the first point. And then we have minus pi by pi over 2. So 2 cos 3 times minus pi over 2. So I missed plus 1. That is not good. Let's try again. So 2 cos 3 times minus 2 pi over 3 plus 1. That should be 3. So the first point is 3, not this one, okay, because I missed the plus 1 part. Now the next one will be minus pi by 2. 2 cos 3 minus pi times minus pi, sorry, by 2 plus 1. That will be 1. So this will be 1. And the next one will be pi over 3. That will be minus 1. And then we have minus pi over 6. That will be 1. And then we have 0. So let's take 0 afterwards. Let's use those values first. Same thing. Let's do it. Same thing. So 2 cos of 0 plus 1, that is 3. So 0, 3 will be this one. And then we have pi by 6. So 2 cos of 3 times pi by 6 plus 1. That will be 1. And then we have pi by 3 minus 1, and pi by 2, which will be 1 as well, but let's check, who knows, 1. And then last value is 2 pi by 3. So let's do that again, 2 cos 3 times 2 pi over 3 plus 1. That will be 3. As you can see, we were able to find these points step by step. Now we can join them together to form the equation, the curve. Shape. Okay, try your best to connect them together by making smooth curve. Okay. Okay, so this doesn't count. So this will be the shape of your curve, and then finally label the curve 2 cos 3x plus 1. And this will be your answer for part B. Now for part 2, we have to use your graph, otherwise find the exact solution of this square equal to 1 for this same domain. So basically you have to find the number of solutions for this one. So you know this is what? This is given to you by y. This is y square equal to 1. So y is equal to plus or minus 1. So we have two lines, y is equal to 1 or y is equal to minus 1. Now how do you draw these two lines? You know this is a horizontal line. This is also a horizontal line. So where is that line? Y equal to 1, it will be right here. So on this line you will have 1 solution, 2, 3, 4 solutions. And on this line, minus 1, it is this line, you will have 1, 2 solutions. So we have to mention those values of x where they are the exact solutions. So pretty easy. Let's write them down. X can be minus pi over 2, minus pi over 3, minus pi over 6, pi over 6, pi by 3, and pi by 2, according to the graph by using your graph. Now this is your question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. So here we have how many 5-digit even numbers, so one condition, even numbers can be made using each of these digits only once. So 2 conditions, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the numbers that we can use to form our 5-digit number, which is even. So we have to form a 5-digit number. So we will make 5 spaces for them. Now, so for it to be even, it has to end with an even number. So we have 1, 2 even numbers. So you have only 2 choice of ending this number. So for it to be even, let's say I choose 2, we'll put 2 here. Then for this one, I can choose anything. I'll have 4 options, and then I will have 3 options. Let's say I put 3 here. I'll have 2 options. Let's say I put 4 here. And I have 1 option, which is 5. Your answer will be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 times 2. That will be what? So we can do this because I don't have my calculator with me. So let's do this. That should be, that will be 12 times 2 is 24 times 2 is 48. That will be your answer. Now for part 2, find how many different 3-digit numbers can be made using those 5 numbers. So right now we have only one condition. It just needs to be a 3-digit number. Of course it is only one, so 1, 2, 3. So we can choose any numbers for that, and we can choose 5 options. We have 4 options remaining. Let's say we choose 4, and then we have 3 options. Let's say we choose 3. So you will have 5 times 4 times 3, that should be 60. That will be part A of the question. Now for part B, 1 man and 2 women are to sit in a row of 5 empty chairs. So we have 5 empty chairs, and we want to sit 1 man and 2 women. Now calculate the number of ways they can be seated if, first one, the 2 women must sit next to each other. So one thing to understand here is that the 2 women are 2 different women. Okay, so women 1 and women 2 want to sit together, and then we have 1 man. So at first we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chairs. So basically how many ways we can to sit them. So let's see, we have 2 women. We can put them here, 1 option, 2 option, 3 option, 4 option. So we have 4 ways of sitting those 2 women. Then for the men, once we put the 2 women here, we have 3 places left for the men, so the men has 3 options of sitting down. And then finally we have to times 2. So why do we multiply by 2? It's because the 2 women are different, because they can also switch position. It can be this way or it can be this way. That's why we have to multiply by 2 in the end. So that will be your answer, which is, so that will be 24. Okay. Now for part 2, all the 3 people must sit next to each other. So we have W1 and W2. They have to sit next to each other. So same thing, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have 3, so it can be here 1 option, 2 options, and 3 options. So right now we have 3 options of sitting them. But now of course we have 3 people inside of this group. They can permutate among themselves. We have 3 factorial ways of permutating among themselves. So this is 6, 3 times 6, that will be 18. I hope that makes sense, because you can rewrite this down as men, women 2, women 1. So you can write this down as many ways. You have 3 factorial ways of writing this on the inside. But this is why you have to multiply by this many ways to find the 18 as your total number of ways of sitting down next to each other. And that will be your question number 10. Let's move on to question number 11. So find the integration of this thing. So one by one, we can first write down like this, right? And then dx. That will give you 3x squared over 2 minus x. We have to plus 1, 5 over 2, divided by the power plus c. That can be simplified to 3 over 2x squared minus 2 over 5x, 5 over 2 plus c. That is your integration. Now that is part 1. Now part 2. The diagram shows part of the curve y equal to 3x minus x power 3 over 2. So this is the same thing as this, so you know you have to use this somewhere. Now the lines x, y equal to 3x, which is this line, and this line, we have the curve and the line meet at the point 0 here, and the curve and this line meet at the point A and B. Sorry, at A only. Now question is, let's see what is the question. Do you find the coordinates of A? So how do you find that? A is a point where the curve or the line meets the x-axis. So pretty easy. Let's take the curve, so the line. So this is your line. A is a point at the x-axis. So you know at x-axis, what do you know? The value of y has to be 0. So 27 is equal to 3x. X has to be 9. So point A has to be 9, 0. This is 9. The next one is verify the coordinates of BR 3, 9. So how do you verify this? Let's see. So this is the point of intersection between those two lines. So let's check. So we know that y equal to 3x and 2y equal to 2, 7 minus 3x. They meet at this point. So we have to solve this by substitution. 2y is equal to 27 minus 3x. That will be 6x plus 3x equal to 27. 9x will be 27. X will be 3. Now y will be 3 times 3. That will be 9. So point B will be 3 and 9. This is shown as required. That is this point, which is 3 and 9. Now moving on to question part 4. Find the area of the shaded region. Now if you observe, this will be the region that we need to find usually. I think that is on the question paper. You will see this is your region that is shaded. So how would you find this area? So you have to break this down into 2 pieces so you can understand what's happening. So the first reflex is we have to find the area of the whole area first. We have to find piece by piece. So let's first find out. You can see, let's call this one x. Now this one is actually 3. So this one is triangle. This one is also a triangle. So let's find the whole area first, right? So whole area will be 2 triangle. The first one is half times base is 3 times height is 9 plus this one is half, base is 6 times height is 9. That will give you what? Half times 3 times 9 plus half times 6 times 9. That will be 40.5. That is the whole area that we have here. Now we want to remove the area below here, which is area under the curve. Let's call this one U, and which is unwanted area. We have to remove this one. So how do you find this area? We have to find this by doing integration. So unwanted area is integration between the limits of 9 and 0 for the curve y equal to 3x minus x 3 over 2 by dx. So this was done in part 1. You know this is equal to 3 over 2 x power 2 minus 2 over 5 x power 5 over 2 between the limits of 9 and 0. That will give you 3 over 2 times 81 minus 2 over 5. So what is 9 power 5 over 2? That will be 243. And the minus, that will be 0. 0, 0 will be 0. Right. Now simplify this. 3 over 2 times 81 minus 2 over 5 times 243. That will be 24,310. Now, we know this is 24,310. But we want to find the top one, so we take the whole area minus this area. So let's do that. So finally, area of shaded region will be everything, which is 40.5 minus 24,3 over 10. That will be 16.2. That will be units square for area. And this is your answer for question number 11. Let's move on to question number 12. A curve have equation y equal to this. We have to find dy by dx. So step by step, let's break this down into 2 pieces. The first part is a fraction. You have to use your quotient rule. So let's do that. We have to write the denominator first as it is, and then d by dx of the top, that will be 2. Then minus the top as it is, then d by dx of the base, that will be 1. And everything divided by the square of the base. Now this one is simply minus 12. Okay, now we can simplify. You will have 2 x minus 2 minus 2x minus 5 plus 5, sorry. Now we have this divide over x minus 1 square minus 12 over 1. Now I would not try to make this become the same base because this is just a constant. And if you look at this question, you have to differentiate again. So this will go away. You don't need to care about this too much. Let's simplify this one. So this will give you this minus this will go away. Minus 2, we have plus 5, that will be 3 over x minus 1 square minus 12. Now you can rewrite this down as 3, this minus 2, and this. So this is your dy by dx. That is for part 1. Now you have to find d2y by d2x, so pretty easy. d2y by d2x, again step by step. First one, multiply by the power, and then power minus 1 will be minus 3, multiply by the inside differentiation, that is 1, this will be minus 0, becomes 0. Now this will be simplified to minus 6 over x minus 1 power 3. This is your d2y and dx2. Let's move on to part 3 of question. Now, it says that find the coordinates of these stationary points. So to find these stationary points, we know that d2y, so dy by dx has to be 0. So here we know dy by dx is 3 over x minus 1 square minus 12 has to be 0. So first thing first, we can eliminate the base by multiplying everywhere by the base. That will become 3 minus 12 x minus 1 square is equal to 0. Now we expand, you will have 3 minus 12, this is x square minus 2x plus 1 equal to 0. So 3 minus 12 x square plus 24x minus 12 is equal to 0. So minus 12x square plus 24x, 3 minus 12 is minus 9 equal to 0. Simplify 2, you will have divide by minus 3 everywhere, you will have 4x square minus 3, that will be 8x plus 3 equal to 0. Now we have to factorize. This will be 2x times 2x. 3 is 3 times 1. To become minus 8 has to be minus 6 minus 2. X will be 1 over 2 and x will be 3 over 2. So find the corresponding value of y. So equation y will be 2 half minus 5 divided by half minus 1 minus 12 half. So this will be simply 1. So 1 minus 5 divided by minus half. That will be 8 minus 6 will be 2. Now for this one, same steps. So 2. So this is just the equation given to you in the first part. You have to replace x in this to find the value of y. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. So that will be 3 over 2 minus 5, and then that will be 3 over 2 minus 1 minus 12, 3 over 2. That will be, so we have 3 minus 5 divided by 3 over 2 minus 1, that will be minus 4, and this will become minus 18, that will be minus 22. So the stationary points will be half and 2 and 3 over 2 and minus 22. These two will be the stationary points. And now we have to find the nature. To find the nature, we always have to look at d2y and dx2. So d2y and dx2 is equal to minus 6 x minus 1 cubed. So for this one, as you can see here, we have the value of x is equal to half. So d2y by dx2 has to be what? Top is minus 6 divided by half minus 1 is minus half. So minus half over 1 over 3. That will give you what? Minus 1 over 8. That will give you 48. This is 48, which is a positive value. So you will write the point, because of that, the point half and 2 is a minimum value. Okay, so since we already have one minimum, so we should know that the other one will be a maximum value. Okay, that will be a max value. Okay, so that will be your conclusion for this question. So if you want to check, you can also show by putting this value inside. You will have 3 over 2 minus 1 is half, minus divided by plus, you will have something in negative value. Since it will be minus value, it will be a maximum value. So you always have to have one minimum and one maximum value. Okay, so that will be your question number 12, and that is the last question of this paper. If you guys have any other questions, let me know in the comments, or any requests, let me know as well. And thank you for watching. I will see you soon.